The cold wind howled through the empty streets as a single car sat stalled on the side of the road, its engine dead and its headlights barely flickering inside the car. A family of 4 huddled together, cold and helpless. It was Thanksgiving Day. The one day of the year meant for family and food, yet all they could do was stare at their car stranded miles away from their home. They'd been on the road for hours, trying to make it to their grandmother's house for the holiday dinner. But now they were stuck in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, no tow truck in sight, and nothing but the distant sound of holiday celebrations from passing cars. The family was on the verge of giving up hope. Then, like a beacon of light, a truck pulled up. A man wearing a grease-stained shirt and a baseball cap stepped out. His name was Jack, a mechanic who just finished his shift at the local auto shop. He had been planning to spend the evening with his own family, but when he saw the stranded family, he couldn't ignore them. "Need some help?" Jack asked, his voice kind but firm, as if he dealt with situations like this 1,000 times. Before the father, looking worn out and exhausted, nodded. "We just need to get to the next town. It's Thanksgiving, and we were trying to get to my mother-in-law's for dinner, but I think the engine just gave out." Jack didn't hesitate. "Let's take a look," as he worked on the car. The family sat nearby, watching as he worked tirelessly despite his own plans for the evening. Slipping further away, the mother Sarah thanked him profusely for his kindness. "You're a lifesaver," she said. "You really don't have to do this. It's a holiday." Jack shrugged his hands, still working under the hood. "I know what it's like to be away from family," he said quietly, almost to himself. "But sometimes the people who need you most are right in front of you." The father, Mark, didn't know what to say. It was clear Jack was giving up his own Thanksgiving dinner to help them. But why? Why would anyone do that for a stranger? As the minutes passed, Jack finally managed to get the car running again. "There we go," he said with a satisfied grin, slamming the hood closed. "You should be good to go now." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes. "Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to us." Jack smiled. "War, it's nothing really. Just pay it forward one day." The family got back in their car, and as they pulled away, Sarah glanced at her husband. "Can you believe that she asked? He just gave up his Thanksgiving." "For us?" Mark nodded, but he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to Jack than met the eye. A few days later, Sarah and Mark decided they wanted to thank Jack properly. They called the auto shop where he worked and asked if they could make a donation or bring him a holiday gift. The manager, sounding a bit surprised, responded, "Oh, Jack, he's not just any mechanic. You wouldn't believe who he really is." Confused, Sarah pressed on. "What do you mean?" The manager explained that Jack wasn't just the town's mechanic, he was also the CEO of a huge charity foundation that helped families in need. He had built the foundation from the ground up and had quietly funded countless Thanksgiving dinner scholarships and food drives for people who couldn't afford them. Jack didn't want recognition or praise. He lived to give. Sarah and Mark were stunned. The man they had met in a greasy shirt who had skipped his own holiday to help them was a silent benefactor living a life far beyond what they could have ever imagined. They decided to visit the charity's headquarters, and when they met Jack again, they were in awe. He smiled modestly and explained, "I don't do it for recognition. I do it because I believe that kindness is something we can all afford to share. No matter our circumstances, in the end, the family learned something far more valuable than they could ever have expected from their Thanksgiving ordeal. It wasn't just the car that Jack had repaired, it was their perspective on life. They realized that sometimes the most impactful moments of kindness come from the most unexpected places, and that it's never about what you have or where you are, but how you choose to make a difference in someone else." His life, the story of Jack. The humble mechanic who skipped his own holiday to help a stranded family, left an unforgettable mark on the hearts of everyone who heard it. And as for Sarah and Mark, they never missed another opportunity to pay it forward, because sometimes the best way to give thanks is by offering kindness to others, no matter the time or the season.